Check, check, mic check. Well, we're inside of a Ford here, so you know it's me. But Matt and Kelly went on their cruise. I guess they're getting on board today, but we're out here on the telephone tower farm, and that's usually not there. So we may be renaming this farm. Somebody moved our building, and somebody moved our pool noodles on those guide wires. They moved the entire pole. I don't know if y'all can, well, I know you can't see it because it's just not there anymore, but, and oh wow, actually you can see it. I was a little crazy. You can see it laying across the ground there. You can see they let it fall that way. I was kind of thinking they were gonna let it fall towards the road. Man, that's so much better. That is so much better. That knocked off of a minimum half an hour of worth of work out here just from like missing and turning around and missing those wires. But that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I don't think that thing really even worked. Obviously they didn't need it that bad. I don't know whose telephone tower that actually was or anything, but I'm sure their paychecks have came to an end, sadly. Whew. I need to roll my window up a little right. I still see their skid steer over there. I don't know. I doubt they're gonna do anything with the actual like electrical lines.
All right, folks, several y'all been asking for it. You know, what's the final results? What's the final numbers from 2024? And now that we finally got our soybeans, well, mostly sold, so I can give you a very close approximation of what we actually did. Now, we still have some corn to sell and some soybeans to sell, so I don't have the actual true numbers because the price on corn and soybeans is still easing up a little bit. We'll probably sell the rest of it by the end of February here, but you know, there's still a little bit of opportunity there to make a little bit more money. And after doing all the number crunching, we need every single penny we can get. Y'all follow us all year long. No secret, it was a tough year. Profit was hard to come by, and after doing all the numbers, there actually was no profit there. So I'll explain all of that, and then I'll also later on in this video try to give you a rough rundown of what I expect for 2025, where we're trying to save as much money as we can and trying to find just some way we can stay in business, because we have another year like we had this year. It's going to be mighty tough for us to remain in business for 2026. All right, we're going to quickly go through wheat. I think I've already recapped that, but anyway, our wheat crop, we averaged an average price of $5.63 per bushel. Our final overall yield per acre was 76 bushels per acre. And for our friends over across the pond that use the metric system, I did a little conversions for you, and anyway, that comes out to 5.63 tons per hectare. Make it a little bit easier for y'all to compare what y'all got versus what we've got. But anyway, wheat yields were pretty consistent across the board, except for one farm. We had a low yield of 55.5 bushels per acre, and then we had a high yield of almost 78 bushels per acre, with most of the yields in that mid 70 bushel range. Now, scrolling down to cotton, so far what we've got sold, we've got an average price of 66 cents per pound. Now, we market all of our cotton through Staple Cotton, and and we've gotten paid for the bulk of it, but they market cotton all throughout the year. We've got 3 more payments coming in March, May, and September to finish out the 2024 crop. And each of those payments will typically be somewhere that 1 to 3 cents per pound range. So hopefully when it's all said and done, we'll have a, final average price of 70, 71, 72 cents per pound when it's all said and done. But overall, cotton, I was probably most disappointed on cotton than I was anything. If you followed us this year, I had really high hopes. I thought the bolls were there. I mean, we had plenty of sunlight and everything, but that drought did a lot more damage, especially the drought in August did a lot more damage than what I anticipated. The boll size just wasn't there. The lint was light, and just overall, we did not have good yields at all. We definitely had below average yields, but anyway, we wound up with a final overall average of 918 pounds per acre, which is just shy of 2 bales per acre. For our metric friends, that comes out to 1.13 tons per hectare. And, we had yields all across the board. We had 2 farms with really good yields, up there close to 1,150 pounds per acre. And then the rest of our early cotton that we didn't have to replant, it was in the high 900 pound range. Where we really got hammered, though, was on the replanted cotton. I mean, look right here, 764 pounds per acre. Another farm, 800 pounds per acre, 720 pounds per acre. That really put a hammer on us. That replanted cotton just did not perform well. Of course, it performed better than if we didn't replant it, but still just did not do good at all. And scrolling down here, corn, right now with what we've got sold, we got an average price of $4.29 per bushel. We've still got, as of right now, about $40,000 worth of corn that hasn't sold. So if we were to sell it today with a total production of, almost 80,000 bushels, that would add roughly another 50 cents per bushel to our average price, getting us up there around $4.80, which a lot better than I thought, because when we started harvest, didn't have very much sold because prices have been steadily declining all summer long. And, prices were right there around $4 per bushel. And, I knew that the national crop was shorter than what everybody was saying. The price was too low. It was probably going to come back up. But when I faced that in the past, when the USDA finally puts out the true final numbers of the crop that show the problems, usually it was after I'd already been forced to sell. But I made up my mind this year, I'm going to hang on to my crop. Don't care how long it takes. Those numbers, that price is going to go up. I'm going to hang on to the crop that I haven't got sold. And fortunately, in January, the USDA came in with some true numbers showing that there were problems with the yield. And the prices have steadily been increasing. And right now, with our basis that we got locked in, we could sell for slightly over $5 per bushel. So we're real close to selling a lot more of it. We've already sold some of it. And hopefully we can squeeze a few more pennies out of it before we finally do pull the trigger. But anyway, our final yield was, I was a little surprised. I was expecting it to be worse, but we came in with an average yield of 159 bushels per acre, which metric, that would be 10.98 tons per hectare. Had yields all across the board. Our farms here in Crockett County, like that one, 130 bushels per acre. One below it, 115 bushels per acre. The drought was more severe here in Crockett County around the shop. Let's go ahead into Madison County. And we had some good yields on some really good farms. Look at that, 208 bushels per acre. Had another one, 180 bushels per acre. There's one at 200 bushels per acre. So, we had it all across the board. Our thin hill ground that really can't support corn very well, it showed it can support corn very well this year. And then, of course, our good ground, it did very well. Of course, we got a lot more poor ground than what we do good corn growing ground. And come down to full season soybeans. I'm not going to really say I was really disappointed in my full season beans, because we had issues with our full season beans all year long. We had to replant a bunch of them, and then we had problems trying to get it to dry down. We lost some yield from the early planting that did survive. Some of that popped out on the ground. We had issues with drought. It's just our bean crop, our full season bean crop was just a mess this year. But anyway, right now with what we got sold, got a average price of $9.28 per bushel. I still got about $25,000 worth of soybeans to sell, so that should bring that average price up over $10 whenever everything is said and done. But you can see here, I mean, these are full season soybean yields that I'm not proud of. Our final average was 37 bushels per acre, metric that converts to 2.75 tons per hectare. Just did not do good, but there was one bright spot that was really surprising. You know, that new farm, the cell phone tower farm that we picked up, I said, I'm just going to plant something out there, minimal inputs, not expecting much from it because first year production, got to get the farm cleaned up. You know, I wasn't expecting much off of it at all, and it wound up being the second highest full season soybean yield that I had at almost 42 bushels per acre. Blew my mind. So that was a bright spot in an otherwise dismal full season soybean crop. And then lastly, we got our double crop soybeans, you know, same average price, $9.28. That's going to go up. Our final average yield was 35 bushels per acre, which converts to 2.64 tons per hectare. So really not much difference from our full season to our double crop. And I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting more out of our double crop. You know, there at the end of August when we were so hot and dry, I was thinking we had maybe like a 15 bushel per acre double crop soybean yield. Then we had 2 hurricanes come in, dumped a lot of water. The soybeans really rebounded. So I was really expecting, you know, we could have some pretty decent yields. And while the soybeans did recover a lot, and they made a lot more than what I was initially thinking they would before those hurricanes came through. They had already aborted a lot of the top pods on the plants. There just wasn't very much top crop, and yields were disappointing. You know, most of them were in that low 30 bushel per acre range. We did have one good one here. Of course, that one's a good bottom there. We had you know, 46 or 45 bushels per acre there, but the rest of them were in the 35s. And this one variety here that was on a lot better ground, a Pioneer P46A90LX. That variety just did not perform good. I think there might have been problems with the germ. We had a skippy stand on a lot of stuff, and then you know, it just did not yield very good. So I'm definitely not going back with that 46A90LX variety. And then unfortunately, our proven 47A64X is no longer being offered, so we won't be able to plant that. So all of our double crop soybean varieties next year are going to be brand new to us. So anyway, that's going to conclude the yields part. Now let's look a little bit to 2025. I just want to show you this chart real quickly. This is our 5-year average. This is what I base my projections off of for 2025. So instead of me just coming up with a pie in the sky number on my projections, I try to go by something that's actually based by facts. So the best way to do that is take our 5-year production history and applying that to next year is what we should do. Now, past few years, our 5-year average has taken a hit. We had the drought in 22 that destroyed our corn crop, really brought our corn average yield down. Then this year, our corn average yield was brought down. 2 out of the last 5 years, our cotton yield has not been good because of weather, brought it down. And then this year, our double crop soybeans and full season soybeans really brought us down. But after figuring in 2024 yields right here, you know, we got a 5-year production average on corn of 149 bushels per acre, whereas a few years ago, before 2022 hit, that 5-year average was 166 bushels per acre. Looking at full season soybeans, you know, this year really hurt at 37 bushels per acre. If you look previously, we got 76 bushels per acre, 50 bushels per acre, 63 bushels per acre, 53 bushels per acre. So we got a 5-year average of 56 bushels per acre. That was at one point, I think, around 63 or 64 bushels per acre. Cotton, we've had two bad years out of the last 5 this year at 918 pounds per acre. We had an unbelievable year last year, but then back in 2021 had weather problems, 775 pounds per acre. So those 2 years really put a hammer on my cotton average, and we got a right at 1,050 pounds for our 5-year average. Wheat, we've really been struggling the last several years with wheat and making good yields. Look at, I mean, last year 76 bushels per acre. The year before that, right at 80 bushels per acre. Year before that, right at 81 bushels per acre. But then before that, had an unbelievable wheat crop at almost 100 bushels per acre, and the year before that, it's 84 bushels per acre. Whereas normally, prior to 2020, we were used to making between 80 and 90 bushels per acre averages easily, and we have not been able to do it. Hopefully this year we'll turn the tide, but anyway, we've got a 5-year average of 82 bushels per acre. And then looking at double crop soybeans, we've been pretty dang consistent on our double crop soybeans. We had last year was not good at all. 20 was it was so-so for double crop soybeans, but then right there in the middle of that, we got almost 58 bushels per acre, 46 bushels per acre, 56 bushels per acre, 5-year average of 47 bushels per acre. So but last year brought our 5-year average down by 3 bushels per acre. All right, now looking at our actual, total income from 2024, across the board, we made profit on all of our crops if you just take into account the variable expenses, the actual cost to put in a crop. Now they were definitely down quite a bit for my projections. Looking here at corn, I was projecting $131,000 or almost $132,000, and we actually got $94,000, which, like, again, that's going to go up some. Hopefully I got another $40,000 of income coming in, which ought to get as close to what my projections are. And then looking at full season soybeans, that's soybeans is where we really got hammered right here. I was projecting almost $64,000 net income off my soybean crop. As of right now, with some soybeans still at sale, we're at almost $11,000 income. And then look up here at the expenses right here versus the projected. A lot of that was because of our replanting right there. So there's $10,000 right there. Looking at cotton again, this absolutely hammered us this year. I was projecting almost $223,000 of income on cotton, whereas what we've actually made is around $64,000 profit on cotton. And that pretty much comes from yield, because I was projecting 1,114 pounds per acre. That's on our 100% share, and we made 940 pounds per acre. So our expenses were a little higher in a lot of cases. This expense right here would be a whole lot higher than our projected one, but we lost 35 acres of cotton, so that's why that expense is not quite as high. And then another big one we got hammered on was the wheat and double crop soybeans, not necessarily on the wheat crop, but the double crop soybean yield. I was projecting, close to $300,000, profit on that, whereas ultimately we made, $141,000 profit. So you add up all the difference between the expected yield versus what we actually got, it definitely hurt. And then, but what really killed us this year is our overhead cost, our fixed cost. I mean, my gosh, we've done a lot of talking about seed costs being high, input costs being high. We really haven't done enough talking about a lot of our fixed costs is high. I mean, look right here at repair and maintenance. That's a freaking killer there. Almost $89,000 in repair and maintenance. I tell you what, folks, these parts prices have just, they've gotten out of sight. Today Andy's been working on servicing the tractors. For 3 tractors, I've got almost $3,000 just in filters. That's not even the oil, just the filters. For a thin metal canister with some paper inside, got almost $3,000 in that. These parts prices have just gotten stupid. But if you don't want to pay for parts prices, well, then you have to buy equipment that doesn't have to be worked on mostly new equipment. That's even more stupid. We can't afford new equipment, so we got to maintain what we've got. And these, and I mean, some of these repair bills have just gotten just plumb stupid. Now, a lot of that is, we were in the second year of overhauling our cotton picker. Had a pretty big chunk there. No, hopefully not going to do that next year. We did a lot of overhauling on our combine with the engine, the unloading system. Had some pretty big expenses there. But what really added up is all this nickel and diamond stuff. I need a part here, a part there. It's just stuff. It's not uncommon for every time I go into a parts store. It's $500, $700. You do that in the course of the year. I mean, it adds up. Fuel was another big one. Now we buy everything in bulk, so I had to buy some there towards the tail end of the year, which inflated this year's fuel costs. Whereas a lot of it's actually going to carry over into next year. So hopefully next year our fuel bill will be lower. Another big one, insurance. I mean, you got to have insurance. This covers everything: our health insurance, our life insurance, property insurance, equipment insurance, crop insurance. It covers all of that. But that's another real big line item. One line item that's really not that big is, look right here, equipment loans. We got one equipment loan, our sprayer. I think we got 2 more payments on it. It'll be done. We didn't have much equipment purchases. Some of that was upgrading grain bins. We had the dirt pan purchase. Property loans, the property we'll be paying on for the next 23 years. That's a relatively low payment. Look down here, labor, almost $80,000 in labor pay. Or when you count the payroll taxes and everything, we're talking about over $90,000 there. I got another loan payment here around $28,000 for the grain bin. Be paying on that for a good long while. So man, but right here, these overhead costs that at the amount of acres we farm, being $400 an acre, is just it's an absolute killer. And we could pick up a little bit more ground. Heck, if we just pick up say another 100 acres, 150 acres, we can spread those same costs over those acres. That would really help bring that cost down and make it a lot more palatable. But overall, the bottom line is we lost money last year. According to the tax man, we didn't lose money because of the way we market our grain. Our 2024 tax year is showing a big soybean crop from 2023 that we sold, plus our below average 2024 crops minus the soybeans. So because we had that big soybean crop in 2023, it's showing us as actually having made a profit on taxes. Whereas in reality, if you just look at from January 1st, 24 to a December 31st, with what we produced in the 2024 crop, we actually lost a significant amount of money. Now, that being said, I want to pay some income tax this year, but next year, because we got such a tiny soybean crop that will be on 2025 taxes, hopefully that'll help me out a good bit on taxes next year, especially if we have a pretty big crop, which is what I'm shooting for. All right, now looking at 2025, where is the profit going to come from? I talked a little bit in previous videos how I'm trying to cut costs as much as I can, but I've been cutting costs for a bunch of years. There ain't no more meat on the bone to cut costs. It's just not there. So I succeeded in reducing our costs some, but the big stuff, the easy stuff to cut without actually cutting your production, it's just not there anymore. Our cost reduction is pretty much going to have to come through our fixed overhead costs. Our repair and maintenance bill, we got to get that down. But anyway, looking at what it's going to cost to farm next year, what I got projected, corn, I talked a lot about we're going to reduce our corn seed cost, and we did reduce our corn seed cost by a good bit. I think nitrogen fertilizer is going to be a little bit cheaper too. Anyway, it looks like to put in an acre of corn for average yields going to be somewhere around $341 per acre. And then for the landlords that share in the expenses, it's going to cost me around $270 per acre. So that compares last year to what That compares to $363 per acre was our actual production cost on corn last year. So we're looking at reducing that some. So hopefully free up another $23 per acre. And looking down here to soybeans, you know, there ain't much meat to cut on the bone in soybeans. But anyway, it looks like for full season beans, it's going to cost us around $206 per acre to raise an acre. Landlords on share rent around $170 per acre. That compares last year. Last year we had $238 per acre on soybeans. You know, because we had to do a lot of replanting. So going to try and bring that down. Hopefully we won't have to do any replanting this year. And looking at cotton here. Can't do anything about our cottonseed costs. We've already reduced the population as much as we can, and you know there's really not going to be any reducing the seed cost there. Cotton's going to be our most expensive crop. Normally, cotton and corn are pretty neck and neck even wise as far as cost to actually grow the crop. Well, corn's going to be cheaper this year. Cotton's going to be about the same, but you know it's going to cost us right at $392 per acre. And inputs to raise a cotton crop. That compares last year, we had $450 an acre in our cotton crop last year. Again, some of that's replanting, but we're going to try and change up our herbicide program a little bit to hopefully be better and get a few dollars back this year. Our wheat this year, really not much we can cut on wheat without cutting yield, but it looks like it's going to cost us about $250 an acre to grow a wheat crop, as opposed to last year it cost us $258 an acre to grow a wheat crop. And double crop soybeans, there ain't much we can cut on that either. It looks like it's going to cost us around almost $110 an acre to grow an acre of double crop soybeans, which is about $10 an acre more than what it used to, and almost all of that comes from increased soybean costs. But when you're planting soybeans late double crop, you can't really cut the seeding rate, otherwise you're really going to hurt your yield because the crop does not have enough growing season to really branch out and compensate for a lower population like what you can do in full season. So anyway, it's going to cost us around $110 an acre for that compared to last year. You know, our expenses were about $93 an acre because we didn't spray a fungicide on our beans because it was so hot and dry. Well, I've got penciled in spraying a fungicide this year, which is going to bring the cost on up, plus soybean seed costs have increased. So anyway, what kind of profit are we looking at for next year? It's not good. I mean, our 5-year average is down, so we can't count on as much yield on our projections. I'm hoping to get around that $5 per bushel, maybe a little over on corn for next year. You know, we're going to have around almost 500 acres of corn. Hopefully we'll make $150,000 plus off of it. Soybeans, I hope they really rebound next year as far as yield. We'll have about the same amount of acres, 141 acres of full season beans. I'm hoping soybean prices will remain above $10. I'm hoping we can get around that $10.75 per bushel. Anyway, make around $35,000 profit. Hopefully more off 141 acres. Of course, you know, our average yield has come down around 56 bushels per acre. So hopefully we can get 60 plus and bump that number up quite a bit. Cotton, I hope we have a big rebound on cotton. I don't see the price on cotton going up though. I think it's going to hover somewhere between that 65 to 70 cent range. Hopefully maybe we'll get up there 70 to 75 cent range. Hopefully we'll get a 3-4 cent per pound premium on lint quality next year. You know, hopefully we can do pretty good. I've got penciled in 73 cents per pound is what I'm projecting for next year. Hopefully that'll be higher. We're gonna have a little over 500 acres of cotton. You know, if we can, this 1,048 pound 5-year average, hopefully we surpass that by a good amount. Anyway, we're looking at $131,000 profit off cotton next year. Wheat double crop beans, 5-year average, 82 bushels per acre on wheat. 47 bushels per acre on soybeans. No, I'm projecting an average price on wheat. I'm hoping it's going to be $6. We do have some wheat contracted at like $7.72 right now. I think wheat with a basis is somewhere around $5.60, but it has kind of been following corn up. Hopefully it will continue to before harvest, and hopefully we can average around $6 per bushel on wheat. You know, we got about almost 500 acres planted, and again, usually wheat and double crop soybeans are the biggest money maker. If our soybean yields can rebound, you know, hopefully we'll bring in a pretty good payday at $244,000. And going down here to our fixed overhead costs, I think our fuel cost is going to be lower. Like I said, we're carrying over some diesel fuel into this year. Hopefully with President Trump in office, hopefully his energy policies will take effect pretty quickly, lowering the price per gallon of gasoline and diesel. But anyway, I got $50,000 budgeted there. You know, the $66,000 cover crop seed, you know, that's the vast majority of that is reimbursed by the EQIP program through the USDA that we're signed up with. Insurance, I got penciled in at $63,000. I'm going to talk with our crop insurance agent, maybe adjust some values on our equipment because it's been a while since I've done that. Our equipment's not worth what it was a few years ago just because of depreciation. So maybe we can get that insurance figure down a little bit. Big thing is crop insurance. I don't know what crop insurance prices are going to be. I expect they'll probably be pretty similar to what they were last year. Oh, and also another reason income was so low last year, we did get some crop insurance proceeds from last year, but they didn't come in until after January 1st just because so many people had claims they were so backed up. But anyway, we got enough we collected enough crop insurance to pay for the crop insurance premium last year. I was definitely a little disappointed in that. And then the biggest one, repairs and maintenance. I'm going to try and drop that $288,000 I spent this year. I'm hoping to drop it below $200,000. Of course, I say that every year, and it never happens. Maybe this year will be the year that we have pretty easy year on stuff breaking, and we don't have to spend a crap load of money on fixing stuff. Don't expect it to happen, but I'm hoping it'll happen. Loan payment's still going to be about the same because they won't be paid off yet. And then a lot of these others are probably going to be about the same. Interest is probably going to be about the same because we want to borrow more money next year, even though interest rate's going to be a little bit lower. We want to borrow more money because we used up a lot of our nest egg last year. So, you know, the interest right there, you know, $33,000, I mean, that's a chunk of change just in interest. If interest rates ever drop back down to where they were a few years ago, you know, hopefully that line item will drop on down quite a bit. But I've already talked to Kelly and Andy, and like, we're going to be on our toes about every single detail this year. We cannot spend money unless we absolutely have to. We have to be careful with the equipment that we don't do anything careless and tear stuff up. You know, whenever we're in the field, we're going to have to be very careful that we don't run over unnecessary crop. We're applying what we need to do exactly like we should. And then, we lost a lot of money there at the grain bins this year with grain contamination. Well, we probably lost $30,000 or so there. So we're really going to have to be on our toes next year. But anyway, you know, I got penciled in a profit of $35,000 off of a gross income of $1.5 million. I'm hoping to net $35,000 next year. Man, this is a tough job. That's all I can say. I mean, you invest $1.5 million in a business, you expect to make more than $35,000, and that's with us being careful. Really, really careful with our costs. So next year, we need big yields. I don't really see prices rebounding a whole lot from where they're at now, but we certainly can't afford a decrease in prices. I mean, I want to be super careful with my marketing. Every single detail that I preach about every year, I want to be even better this year than what I have been in the past and just not let anything slip through the cracks. 2025 could potentially be really tough year. And you know, here it is, you know, February 5th, and I'm dreading putting in a crop this year. I got to do it, but I'm just dreading because it's going to be so dang hard to actually turn a profit and make sure we're going to be in business for next year. You know, today Eric Reed called me. We had a pretty long conversation just talking about, you know, the state of the farm industry, and you know, he's in worse shape than what I am. They had a worse crop than what we had last year, and you know, it's, you know, even for good farmers like ourselves, I mean, it's tough to remain in business. And you know, again, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but there's got to be a shift in the farm industry. Just our cost of farming have just gotten almost untenable, and you know, there's a good chance that there could be quite a few farmers go out of business in the next few years, just because of how much it costs. And even, you know, the guys like myself that are still able to remain in business, I mean, at what point do we call it? At what point do we call it quits and say it's just not worth it? It's not worth the risk of losing hundreds of $1,000s every year with only the potential of a small return if we do everything right. I mean, just at what point do we say enough's enough? And it's not worth it for us. You know, it's in my blood. Got 5 generations behind me that I'm trying to keep this going on, but you know, I don't know. I gotta be smart financially. You know, I can't put you know, everything that we own at risk, and we start having the mortgage stuff to stay in business. That's gonna be the time. That's gonna be the time when it tells me it's time to quit. You know, but anyway, right now, as depressed as I am about going into next year, I gotta remind myself the good Lord has always taken care of me and my family. We've had the faith that He will provide, and ultimately He will provide. I don't know if He'll provide by farming, but He will provide, and He will make it clear which way we need to go. So I know in the long run, I'm going to be all right. My family's going to be all right. You know, Lord, He's always provided for us, and I have no doubt in my mind that He will continue to provide for us going forward. I hope He provides it by giving us a good year of farming so we can keep on doing what I love to do. But ultimately, I don't know what His plan is. He does, and He will make it clear to me in the coming days, months, and years. So that's all I gotta say. I gotta, you know, all this stuff I'm trying to control and, you know, put on my shoulders and micromanage and everything. You know, I've got to turn it all over to Him and just ask Him to guide me, and that's what I'm gonna do. So everything I'm feeling right now, let it go. He wants us to farm this year. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do the best we can at it, and we're going to let the chips fall where they may, and we'll be okay in the end.
Well, we've got 2 tractors in the shop. The shop is all nice and clean, and Matt and Kelly just got back from the cruise. So first thing, we've got a truck full of parts here, and we've got 2 tractors in the shop, so we're changing some fluids. We're going to start with the motor oil on both of them, and then y'all have seen it before, do the fuel, and then check the hydraulics and replace anything that got broken over the year. I don't know, I think it's this one. Yeah, you can see, I don't know if y'all can see the crack or not. There's a crack right there in the windshield. It's windshield number 3, I think, might be number 4, but yeah, we got new filters, new windshield, and a bunch of oil to go in them. So let's get these parts laid out and in order and get to work. All right, we got all our parts laid out and numbered and kind of organized. Got some mysterious white pieces. I'm pretty sure they're all cabin filters. That's what it says on the thing, but I wasn't sure. We were getting 4 of them. I believe it goes in that right there. Anyway, got our bucket under there, or got a bucket under that one. We're gonna start draining the oil on them simultaneously, same time. I guess that's the right word, simultaneously. But ew, that was kind of gross. Anyway, I'm gonna start draining some oil, and I'll see y'all in a second. All right, got our 12mm drive here, X drive. crack that this time we're gonna try and do it without a mess. Nice black oil. Can't remember exactly how much oil goes in here. I think it's right under 5 gallons. So got a 5-gallon bucket. You know, judge it, match it up, and then look at the stick. So starting to die down pretty quick there. So while we're waiting on that to drain, we're gonna go ahead and pop this oil filter, crack it so we got some airflow. Don't let all the oil drain out of there, but we're gonna let this drain for a few more minutes and go check on the other tractor real quick. Do the same thing over there. Same process. You can speed it up a little bit if you want to. Oh. I dropped my dadgum plug in the bottom of this funnel, and now it's clogged up. So I've got my thumb in the oil pan here. Luckily, the oil's not just molten lava. I'm gonna reach down here in this daggum oil. In case you ever wonder why I don't text back immediately, if you just happen to be one of those viewers, it's because my fingers are always looking like this or in a daggum oil pan. I'm plugged up on. Oh. Alright. Turns out my thumb is the right thread pattern for a oil pan on a T7. So it says 4 gallons here under engine oil. So let's go grab 4 engine oil gallons. 4 gallons of engine oil. That's what I meant to say. Alright, you can see there's a new oil filter. That tractor is also full of oil. This one, same way. New filter, full of oil. I gotta write the hours on them, and then we'll be done with the motor oil. But our next project is going to be these 2 fuel filters, and they're not too hard. You gotta make sure. I'm actually not sure if you're supposed to fill these up or not. It should say it on the new ones. I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to fill these 2 or fill that one up. I think it says it on there anyway. These are the 2 filters we're changing. You just crack them, crack this, try to get no air in the fuel system. There's got a little sensor down here. Unplug that, and then pretty much take them off like an oil filter, and kind of be quick with it. Pop your other filter on, so a lot less oil goes through there. Hopefully and then you bleed them with the bleeder plunger thing here. Anyway, I don't know if any of that was understandable, so I'm gonna go ahead and change those fuel filters now and maybe let y'all watch. I'm sure y'all have seen this 1,000 times, but get these fuel filters off. There's a little pin. Little clip with a pin in it. You can either use your fingers or a flathead screwdriver. Just undo that. Let it drop in our bucket there. Keep on to it. And you undo the wire on the bottom and crack it like an oil filter. Alright, we got our filters on there, new filters on there, nice black and shiny. So on this one, that sensor I told you to unplug, you also have to unscrew it from your old filter and put it on your new filter. Simple as that. And then right now I'm just trying to clean up these connections and wipe up all the extra diesel fuel. Plug your sensor back in. Grab your metal clip that went down into the bucket. Try to slide that back on over. Alright. wipe your filters off, all the diesel off of them. If you can remember the hours off the top of your head and you have a paint pen in your hand, might as well go ahead and half of that's going to wipe off because there's still diesel on the filter. But go ahead and write your hours down on there so next service comes a little easier. Anyway, pretend those numbers are already written on there. And next, last step is to prime it till you hear some bubbles. Well, until you don't hear bubbles. Just a couple more of these primes and get those filters nice and full. You can hear the bubbles coming out now. Alright, we're just pushing diesel through the system now, so push that back down and tighten her back up.